Hello, my name is Dougie Brimson and welcome to the Stock Car Show. Coming up on tonight's programme, we've got all of this. The stock rods are the babies of the non-contact world. Indeed, for many people, they're the entry-level formula. It's the one I started in, for example. So, before we go on, let's see some of them in action.
Time for the stock rods as they join the track here. Mr. Starter getting them off to a formation lap. You can see it on the far side of the circuit, taking a little while just to get rolling. 424 will lead away in pole position. A car that looks as though it's come out of a banger race, to be perfectly honest with you, but that's not the case. 424 leads them away then on this, the stock rods race meeting. And we're off into competitive motorsport once again. Mainly small hatchback cars, old Mark I Fiestas, the odd Toyota Starlet, and Nova cars seem to be the favoured vehicle of many drivers right now. 414, Ian Marshall from Bedford just going through the picture in the green car there. Keep an eye on Elvin Ravenscroft there, the very, very yellow car. 831 coming through your picture, a stalwart fighter from previous seasons here at Northampton at the International Raceway Stadium. So early lappery in this 16-lap race. Elvin Ravenscroft, well known for battling his way through the field, and that's exactly what he's having to do this afternoon. 669 Eddie Trofer, just putting Ravenscroft under some pressure and in fact forcing him wide. I'm not sure whether that was an unforced error or not. Bit of curb hopping going on there from the rest of the pack. Now there's a right bunch going on there. Is Elvin Ravenscroft holding that field up? It looks as though he might be. Up at the front, still the 424 car. Now you can see the effect of this short course circuit here at Northampton. Couple of fields going round. Elvin Ravenscroft at the front of one of them. 424 our early starter at the front of the other one. But as you see, they start to stretch out on this quarter-mile short course circuit, and it won't be long before the front guys are catching up the back guys. 238 going around the outside of 424. 238 Jonathan Manyweathers, well known here, well known up here for being a multiple winner at the Northampton International Raceway Stadium. I think he's hit the front of the field. Ravenscroft seemed to get boxed by the rest of the field now, and that's going to be hampering his charge through the field this afternoon. 238 still at the front, Jonathan Manyweathers from Bedford. Once he hits the front, he usually stays there. The 222 Gould car just being taken by 832 Andy Latham. That was a fantastic move as he comes down into turn one, exit to turn two, a little bit of sideways slippery as he comes out of that turn. Still at the front, Manyweathers, the Bedfordshire-based car, and quite a gap before we then come down to the rest of the field. Oh, there's a spinner! Oh, 0-5 getting pushed big time by Elvin Ravenscroft all the way to the start-finish line. That will not be what either driver had got in mind. The 5 car of Ray Gibbs, the 831 car of Elvin Ravenscroft, who has to make a new racing start, having been dumped right to the back of the pack, and that must be his race completely shot this afternoon. 238 Jonathan Manyweathers coming round on his final lap looking for another checkered flag. It must get rather boring when you win as many races as he does. Takes the win in second position, Eddie Trofer in the 669 car, and a very good third position for Andy Latham in 832.
Now, as you've just seen, there's various types of car used in stock rod racing. This one's a Nova, for example, but you'll also see anything from a Renault Clio to the old favourite, the Toyota Starlet. The thing about the stock rods is that the engines under here have got to be less than 1400cc, and they've got to relate to the body shell that they're fitted in. Other than that, they're given a respectable amount of tuning to give a decent power output. Bodies are strengthened by the use of these skirts and arches. They have very limited suspension tuning allowed, apart from negative camber on that side. But the big thing about them is they're relatively cheap, and the racing is frantic and often very exciting. So let's see some more.
Now, as you can see, we're up to starting speed. Keep your eyes open for 238 Jonathan Manyweathers, who usually goes very well here, and also 831, there he is, Elvin Ravenscroft in the yellow and red car. So we get to racing speed, the green flag is out. Just let the car settle down and find their way through till we get an early front runner on the field. Cars are allowed to make contact here, but really and truly, It's all about pedal to the metal on this short course quarter-mile oval circuit. The field comes flooding through. As always, you'll find the more inexperienced drivers, or the less successful ones, at the front of the field at the start of races, and as the race goes on, the front runners will tear their way through the pack to hit the front of the field, preferably with about a lap or two to go. Elvin Ravenscroft in your picture there, early front runner, number 94 Terry Vickery from Corby in the blue 94 car. Now there's more of the activity up at the front. You can see how the pack is now starting to catch the early leaders. 2:38 just in the picture there, Jonathan Manyweathers from Bedford, multiple winner up here at the Northampton International Raceway Stadium. Are we going to see the same procedure today? You'll see before too long. 3:10 in the picture there is Sean O'Leary, and 6:69 just coming through is Eddie Trofer. 7-7 just getting, beg his pardon, 7-7-7 Barry Bowyer. Just getting boxed a little bit there, but manages to hold position on the track as 1:49 goes the long way around the outside and almost has to do it again. Elvin Ravenscroft nudges that car out of the way, and I think he's going to get Bowyer. Oh, there goes the Vickery car. 94 spins out straight down to the bottom of the field. That's the end of his race as far as competitive standings are concerned this afternoon. So the action continues up at the front. 3:10 Sean O'Leary, and we're on to final lap time. Eddie Trofer in 6:69. There he is in... is he going to get second position? He's third at the moment. What's going to happen? 3:10, 6:69. 6:69 gets it on the line from 2:38 Jonathan Manyweathers. What a great scrap that was.
The big thing on this formula is they all use the same tyre, the Yokohama AO2 1R. That keeps costs down, and these things, if they're used properly, last for ages.
And it's the Stock Rods feature final. Keep your eyes open for favourite Jonathan Manyweathers, who's won more times here than I've had hot dinners this year. Did I tell you I was a vegetarian and like salads? No, Jonathan Manyweathers is a real star up here in the Stock Rods. And we get under racing conditions. We've seen these cars many, many times before. 424 and 222. It's almost a rerun of previous races that we've had up here in the past. Look for 238, Jonathan Manyweathers. Look also for Elvin Ravenscroft, the 831 car. 238 just going through the picture there. There's the guy who we think may well win the race this afternoon. 222, just getting pushed a bit. That's Craig Gould from Rushden. And in 777 there, Barry Bowyer from Peterborough. Brightly coloured cars. Very few dents in these particular cars. The idea is to keep them pointing in the right direction. Thank you, Craig Gould. That's not something that he'll be too proud of. Mind you, I said he was tapped out. Racing drivers always do when they don't succeed where they ought to. 9:48 giving our front runner. There you go, Jonathan Manyweathers annexes the front spot again. He's not going to lose that unless there's a mechanical failure of some sort, or he gets boxed by back markers in front of him. 777 Barry Bowyer just cocking a wheel there. It's great for saving hold of your tyres, but it's not good when you're trying to get traction out of the corners. And in comes the rest of the following field. These hatchbacks stripped for racing big time. You lose an awful lot of weight as a result when you take the rear seats out, the passenger seat, all the trim panels. You get a lot of weight out of those cars. As a result, the power rating from the engines is quite colossal. And if you look at the front offside wheels of these cars, you'll see that they're canted very, very strongly to counteract against going on the clockwise running of this circuit as 05 goes horribly wrong. As Ray Gibbs from Newport Pagnell just collecting his car and having dropped down the field quite badly as a result. In fact, right to the back, Elvin Ravenscroft coming somewhat cross-armed across that particular corner, and I don't think he spun in avoidance, but it wouldn't be the first time that it's happened. Now you can see what I mean about the canting of those front wheels. They look almost as if they're running horizontal, but then you hit the corner, you get the force going through the upright struts. Oh, 414, well and truly collected T-bones, and almost holds the entire field up as a result. Bit of three-point turning now going on. 414, Ian Marshall will have a very red face as a result of that. 852 looks to have stalled it mid-corner. It's not going anywhere at all quickly, which is more than can be said for this man. Jonathan Manyweathers continuing very quickly indeed in his particular stock rod, and in fact makes it the win as a result. 238 Jonathan Manyweathers gets the first. We're not surprised by that at all.
One of the other things that's unique about the ovals is the people who drive on it. And by that I mean that they don't actually pay to race. If you want to race somewhere like Silverstone or Brands Hatch, it'll cost you a small fortune. And for that, you'll get a practice and a limited number of race laps. when you come onto the ovals, it doesn't cost you a penny, except in very few formula, and you'll get a lot of race time. Now the reason for that is that the promoters make their money from people walking through the gate, but to get them through the gate, they need cars on track, and they need cars on track to entertain the public. It's a circle, not a vicious circle, but a circle, and it's one that works. The drivers, therefore, get a lot out of it because they're entertainers, and this sport is about making sure the public goes home happy. As a former driver myself, I know full well that the big buzz comes from walking across the track and climbing on the back of that start car with the checker flag in your hand. You know you've won that race, and the appreciation you get from the crowd is awesome. Sadly, I only ever experienced that twice myself, but when you look at some of the big boys, they experience it every time. But for the white grade guys, the guys who come week in, week out and just try their best, they get a different kind of satisfaction out of it. Stock car racing gets into your blood and certainly gets under your skin. There'll be guys who have been out here racing for years and years and years, and they continue to do it, not necessarily because they're any good at it, but just because they love it. It's what they do. One of the great things about this sport is that it just takes you over.
Now, all drivers for Rookie Bangers go through a briefing before the race, and they get that from steward of the course, John Adey.
No deliberate fencing, no following in, no sideswiping. What I want you to do is take these cars home today and next Monday bring them back again. That's what Rookie Bangers is about. If you want to bury somebody or write their cars off, then you shouldn't be doing Rookie Bangers. You should be doing normal bangers.
On the grid then, and how do the racers feel before this, their first race?
Brilliant.
Nervous. I shan't say what else, but I feel very nervous at the moment. And hopefully we'll do more than a lap.
Excited, can't wait.
Now, to explain the rules about Rookie Bangers, after all, it's a brand new formula, is the guy that's really in the know, Bev Greenhalgh.
Very, very simple. Obviously, safety is uppermost, but the car's at 1600cc. The cars are stripped out and prepared as you would a banger. Must have a roll cage in it, of course. But after that, it's very much a matter of light contact only. They will race the first 3 laps as a straight 3 laps of racing. The Union flag is then shown, and they move on then to some light bumper work. By light, we mean spinning out towards the centre of the track, not into the fence, and that sort of thing. It's open to anyone, the ladies if they wish, and once you're over 16, you're in with a chance.
More stock car racing right after this break. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Stock Car Show. In this half we'll be featuring one of my favourite formula, but first we need to teach you a bit more of the basics. Now, stock car racing is controlled by the start marshal, who is guided by the chief steward up in the control tower. Now, the stock car marshal runs his race through the use of flags and flag signals. Green is the most obvious one, that means go. A held yellow flag means caution, something's going on. By rights, when a held yellow is out, you shouldn't overtake, at least not at that spot. If you have waved yellow flags, that means that all the drivers have to slow down and settle into single file with no overtaking. A green flag will restart the race. You have waved yellows because someone's stuck in a car or a car's broken down in a dangerous spot. If you see a red flag, then the race is immediately stopped and all the drivers should slow down to walk in place. The checkered flag is the one all race drivers want to see because it means they've just won the race. The only open-wheeled non-contact formula currently racing in any significant number on the ovals are the Grand Prix Midgets. Now, as an engineer, these little cars have always fascinated me, primarily because whilst the rules for building them are quite carefully defined, they actually leave quite a lot of scope for the home builder to put together something himself. For example, on any grid you'll have both front and rear wheel drive, some of them ex-Formula Ford chassis, some of them purchased from manufacturers like this one called Dastal. But when you stand next to one of these things, the immediate impression is that they are so tiny. The wheelbase is 82 inches, which is less than 6 feet, but that makes them incredibly agile. And with fully adjustable suspension and slick tyres, the speed they carry into a bend is absolutely incredible. The engines used in Grand Prix Midgets have to be under 1350cc. This one's a Ford 1300, but you'll find anything from Volkswagen Beetles to Minis. But the thing about them is they're very highly tuned to give over 100 brake horsepower. And with these light little cars, that gives them an incredible power to weight ratio. Indeed, these little things are some of the fastest motors you'll see on the ovals. But the thing about these little cars is action. And so before we see anything else, let's have a look at them on the track.
And now it's time for the Grand Prix Midgets, Heat 1 from then. Very, very different type of motorsport, as you can see here. Open wheel racing. Very, very small cars. High power to weight ratio as a result. Open wheel. Going for the yellow flag, going for the green flag. You see we have a clutch start, and away these little cars rocket. Absolutely tearing around the course, the opposite direction to the stock rods that you just saw. An early shower there in the Grand Prix Midgets. 22 there is the car of John Hanna from Northampton. Good to see some different cars here. Oh, there's been trouble at the back of the field. Are we going to see a race stoppage? I don't think so, because they're deep into turn 2. Great shot from our head-on camera there, as you can see the cars come barreling down to turn 3 and 4. Number 2, Andy Collins from Bedford, in one of the larger Grand Prix Midget cars there. Open it in different fields. Those of you that have watched motor racing for many years will perhaps recognise the silhouette. Oh, bad spin there. Number 66 won't be at all happy with that. Gary Piper from Staines, as the rest of the field comes barreling past him. Now, don't be taken in by that air intake on Gary Bonner's car. That's not a cartoon car. That's a full-blooded racing car, the form of Grand Prix Midget racing from Manningtree, Gary Bonner in 27. Is that 18 or 19? Difficult to tell. It's actually Stuart Haynes from East Dereham, who's made quite a long journey to be here. We've seen him before. Look out for number 10, Rod Sale. Started at the back of the field. There he is, cutting his way through the field and just coming up behind Gordon Pooley from March in the 33 car. I was talking earlier on about the sizes of cars. Different cars are allowed into this class, and if you are a long-term motorsport watcher, you perhaps remember the days of the old Van Wall Formula 1 cars and the ERAs. These are cars built on very much the same sort of silhouette, but built in with huge roll cages to protect the drivers, because as you can see, when these cars tangle wheels, all hell breaks loose. Now, talking of all hell breaking loose, there's a right old scrap going on there at the front of the field. 33 Gordon Pooley and Rob Sale in number 10. Now, that's not scrapping for the front of the field. That's scrapping for about 3rd position. That's the state of the competitive racing that we have at the International Raceway Stadium. Number 27 going through there, Gary Bonner in the white and red car. Is he going to get the win? Checkered flags out. Yes, he does. Gets the win. This is Rookie Banger Racing, the very first time the Rookie Bangers have been in operation at the Northampton International Raceway Stadium. You're allowed to go round and round the circuit non-contact until the Union Jack goes out. You'll see Mr. Starter bringing the flag out later on in this race. Once that happens, it's a free-for-all, and you can bang anything you like. There's Karen Tilson going through in car 32. And there goes Darren Hart in something that sounds like it should be in the Jetsons rather than up here at the Northampton International Raceway Stadium. Into our first programme of Programme 2 for Apocalypse 1. Confused? Don't be. The racing is top quality. Plenty of tyre screaming going on, plenty of cars without too many dents so far, and let's just let them settle themselves down. There's a couple of old Volkswagen Golfs in there. That's Karen Tilson in the 32 car. Very good, very regular, and she's incredibly regular now because she's being punted T-bone style across the start-finish line. She won't be at all pleased about that. But not too many dents and nudges so far. Where's the Hart car? Answer? Nowhere to be seen. Now out comes the checkered flag, which means, gentlemen and madam, you may thwack the living daylights out of your fellow drivers. Now that's the way to do it. 2-1-1 takes an early bath. Let's have a look at it from another angle. Not sure whether he was clouted or lost it without any... Oh, goodbye, Darren. I think Darren lasted about a lap and a half. So, well, they all have to start from somewhere. Lots of screaming going on from the number 83 car there. That's Phil Quincy out in his first race in the Rookie Bangers. Look at the adhesion from that car. There isn't any. Looking also for 407 Terry Bradshaw out in the Rookie Bangers. 211 looks as though he's managed to get it all together again, not throwing it against the wall anymore. Number 100, oh, taps out number 83, Phil Quincy. Picks it up very quickly, that's a good recovery. There's Terry Bradshaw in the 407 car with a slightly novel paint job. 32, Karen Tilson now taking no prisoners. Good avoidance there, very good. Did well to avoid number 86. That's Chris Briggs just spinning there. 100 and 211 fighting for position on the infield, which is not quite the way to do it. 345, Budgie Johnson assaulting the barriers, but managing to come off quite well out of it, actually. Well, he's pointing in the right direction at least, and that's a bonus this afternoon. Karen Tilson still going around in the Volkswagen Golf. The Sierras doing their own sort of pirouette a la Torvill and Dean. And there's 407 with a blue Smurf on the front. If you know why Terry Bradshaw has a blue Smurf on the front of his car, please get in contact because we'd love to know. Budgie Johnson then in the slightly remodelled Sierra coming around once again. Remember, this is the first race for the Rookie Bangers. It's meant to be, oh dear, somewhat remodelled. It's meant to be the lowest form of cost motorsport you can get into. And it seems to be going rather well. Into the final lap then. This looks like it could be an inaugural win for Budgie Johnson. Takes a checkered flag, gets first position. In second position, whoa, that's a good race. Terry Bradshaw in 407 gets second. Phil Quincy in third, and just edged out into fourth position, Karen Tilson in the number 32 car.
That's it from me this week. If you want to see any of the formula we feature here on the Stock Car Show, get yourself to your local track or even come down here to Northampton International Raceway. Until then, we'll be back with more action and I'll see you next week.